Don't catch a falling knife. I mean, it has to be the most famous slogan in all of trading right
Oh,
now.
absolutely. It's lesson number one.
It's so vivid, so visceral. You just picture this sharp knife falling off the counter, and your gut just tells you that sticking your hand out is a terrible idea.
It's the golden rule of risk management, or at least that's what they teach every rookie who opens an account.
Exactly. It
Yeah.
feels like pure survival instinct. If a stock is crashing, just get out of the way. But today, we're gonna flip that whole idea on its head.
Yeah.
Because it turns out, relying on that slogan as an unquestioned rule, it might actually be costing you money.
That's right. Because while "don't catch a falling knife" is a good warning, the source material we're looking at today says it's a terrible methodology.
A terrible methodology, okay.
Yeah. If you treat it like a law of nature, you create this cognitive trap. You basically blind yourself to some of the best opportunities in the market.
This is going to be a fun one. We are diving deep into a teaching document from the Red Team trading community, and it's titled Falling Knife versus Retracement, Separating Danger from Opportunity Through the Lens of Price-Volume Relationship.
And that title, it gives away the whole secret right there. It's
Yeah.
all about that price-volume relationship.
The big aha moment here is that just looking at a price chart, just watching the line go down is basically useless. The source says context is king, and we have a specific tool to see that context.
We do, and that tool is volume. The text literally calls volume the market's lie detector. Without it, price is just. It's an empty gesture.
A lie detector, I like that.
It's like seeing a car going 100 miles an hour, but you don't know if it has a full tank of gas or if it's just running on fumes. Volume is the fuel. With it, you can tell the difference between a crash that will bankrupt you and a dip that can make your whole year.
Okay, let's unpack this. We start with the problem with slogans. I mean, I love a good slogan. The trend is your friend, all that. Why does this source have such a problem with don't catch a falling knife?
It really comes down to the difference between, say, a warning and a full-on methodology. A warning tells you what to be afraid of.
Right.
A methodology tells you how to think. And slogans, they just trigger an emotional response. You hear falling knife, you feel fear, and you step back.
You don't want to get cut.
But the market doesn't care about your fear. And the problem is a dangerous crash, the real knife, and a healthy buying opportunity, the retracement. They look almost identical if you're only looking at the price.
So they both just look like the line on the chart going down.
Exactly. So if you run away every single time that line goes down because you're scared of the knife,
You miss the retracement. You miss the buying opportunity.
precisely, you miss the chance to buy an asset at a discount right before it takes off again. You're throwing the baby out with the bathwater because you can't tell the difference between them.
Okay, I want to get into the mechanics of this. This is where you make or lose the money. How do we tell them apart? Let's start with the bad guy, the actual falling knife. How does the source define a true one?
This is so important because people throw the term around. A true falling knife isn't just a price drop. The source defines it as a parabolic decline with increasing volume.
Okay, let's pause on that word parabolic. We hear it all the time. What does it actually mean here?
It means acceleration. The drop is getting steeper. It's not a gentle slope, it's a cliff. On a chart, you're seeing these big, fat, red, bearish candles. The price isn't just drifting down, it's plunging.
Okay.
But the key, the absolute key, is the volume bars at the bottom of your chart. In a real falling knife, those volume bars are surging. They're getting taller and taller as the price goes lower and lower.
Which means more and more people are trading as it drops.
Or more specifically, more people are selling. The source describes the psychology here as just panic. Institutions are dumping positions. Fear is escalating. Think of it like a crowded theater where someone yells, "Fire!" The lower the price goes, the more people rush for that exit. It just feeds on itself.
The source has a pretty intense analogy for this. It says buying into this is like stepping in front of a freight train.
And that's a perfect visual. When volume is increasing on a drop, it means the supply of shares is just overwhelming demand. There is so much selling pressure, so much weight behind that move that anyone who tries to buy just gets crushed. The train hasn't even tried to slow down yet.
And I'm guessing this is where that idea of undefined risk comes from. Because, as a trader, risk management is everything.
Exactly. In a true falling knife, you have absolutely no way of knowing when the selling will stop because that rising volume tells you new sellers are still piling in. You can't calculate a bottom. You're just guessing. And in trading, guessing is dying.
The document brings up the Wyckoff perspective here. Now, I know Richard Wyckoff is a legend in this space, but for listeners who might not be deep in that theory, how does his framework help us here?
So Wyckoff was all about supply and demand. In his world, a falling knife is the markdown phase. This is when the composite operator, think smart money, the big institutions, they've already finished selling their shares to the public at the top.
So they're out.
They're out.
Yeah.
They've pulled their support. Now the price is in free fall, the public is panic selling, and the smart money is just on the sidelines watching. Wyckoff would say you stand aside until you see a selling climax.
And that's that huge volume spike where the price finally stops dropping, right? The final flush out.
Right. But until that happens, the knife is still falling. The smart money isn't interested yet, so you shouldn't be either.
Okay, that's the scary part. Parabolic drop, surging volume. Got it. Now let's flip it. Let's talk about the moneymaker, the retracement. How does a safe dip look different?
So on the price chart, it still looks like the price is going down, but the character of the decline is completely different. A retracement is a temporary decline against the trend that is characterized by declining volume.
Declining volume. Okay, so as the price gets cheaper, fewer people are interested in selling it.
That is the critical signal. Picture the chart. You have smaller red candles. Maybe they have little wicks at the bottom.
And just to clarify for everyone, the wick is that little thin line sticking out from the candle body.
Yes, the shadow. A lower wick means the price tried to go down, but buyers stepped in and pushed it back up a bit. It shows resilience. But the real tell is those volume bars. They're shrinking. They're dropping below the average.
So what's the story the market is telling us there? If the price is dropping but volume is just disappearing, what's going on?
The narrative is that the sellers are running out of steam. The panic just isn't there. People might be taking some profits, sure. Maybe there's a little boredom. But the heavy selling pressure is drying up. The market is running out of gas on the downside.
The source says the emotion isn't fear, it's something else entirely.
It's uncertainty, or even just a lack of interest. It gets quiet. In a falling knife, everyone is screaming. In a retracement, the room is just getting empty.
And that emptiness is the opportunity.
Yes, because of simple supply and demand. If supply is drying up, if there are no more sellers left, it doesn't take much buying at all to reverse the price and send it back up. The source puts it beautifully. Sellers who wanted to sell have mostly sold. Demand is dormant but intact.
And this changes the risk profile completely. The knife was undefined risk. What's this one?
This is definable risk. And this is what professionals hunt for. Because the move is orderly and controlled, you can look at the chart and find logical places where the price should stop. A previous low, a moving average. You could say, okay, I'll buy here, and if it drops below this specific point, I'm out. You can't do that with a knife. A knife just slices right through all those levels.
And this connects back to Wyckoff again, doesn't it?
It does. Wyckoff would call this a secondary test or a last point of support. It's that moment where smart money has finished buying and they're just testing. They let the price drift down on low volume to see if anyone else is going to sell. When the answer is no, that's when a rocket takes off.
I really like how the source breaks this down into a side-by-side. It's almost like a cheat sheet. Let's run through a few of these just to nail it down for everyone. I'll give you the category, you give me the knife versus the retracement.
Sounds good. Let's do it.
Okay, first up, market emotion.
Knife is fear and panic. Retracement is uncertainty and boredom.
The appearance of the candles on the chart.
Knife. Large bodies, aggressive, closing near the lows. Retracement. Smaller bodies, awesome with those lower wicks showing that buyers are starting to nibble.
Okay, and the action you should take.
For the knife, stand aside. Do not touch it. Let it hit the floor.
Yeah.
For the retracement, prepare your entry. Start stalking the trade.
And finally, and this is the big one, risk to reward.
With a knife, it's totally incalculable. You're gambling. With a retracement, it's favorable. You're often looking at a 1-to-3 ratio or even better.
Let's just parse that math for a second. A 1-to-3 ratio.
It just means for every $1 you risk losing, you stand to make $3 in profit. If you have a system that finds these, you can be wrong half the time and still make good money because your winners are so much bigger than your losers.
Yeah.
That's what turns trading from a casino into a business.
That distinction, gambling versus a calculated risk, that's
Yes.
huge. But wait, the source throws a massive curveball here. We've been talking about things falling, but there's a section called the greater danger, and it's not about falling at all.
Ah, yes, the exhausted rocket.
This is so fascinating because I feel like nobody talks about this. We're all obsessed with not losing money on a drop, and we totally ignore the trap in the rally. So what is an exhausted rocket?
It's the mirror image of the falling knife, and the source argues it's actually more dangerous to the average person An exhausted rocket is a parabolic uptrend, price shooting straight up, but on declining volume.
Wait, price going up is good, right? I mean, that's what we want.
That's exactly why it's so dangerous. It feels amazing. The psychology here isn't fear, it's FOMO, fear of missing out. It's greed. The price is climbing, everyone is high-fiving, posting their games, but the volume, the fuel we talked about, is just vanishing.
So why would volume be dropping if the price is screaming higher?
Because there are no new buyers. The smart money bought way back at the bottom. Now they're stepping aside. It's just the stragglers, the latecomers, pushing the price up on thin air. It creates a vacuum.
Vacuum is a scary word in the markets. What happens when the last buyer finally buys?
The music stops. And since there's no volume underneath the current price, no structure of buyers waiting to get in, the order book is empty. A single large sell order from an institution can cause the price to just plummet. It's a vacuum drop. It doesn't slide down. It teleports downwards because there's no liquidity to catch it.
The elevator cable snacks.
Exactly. And because you were feeling euphoric just second before, you freeze. You don't sell. You think, oh, it'll come back.
The source makes a really great point about human nature here. It says the slogan should be, don't ride an exhausted rocket. But we don't say that. Why not?
Because we fear losses more than we fear missed gains. But, and this is the key, we are much more likely to be damaged by things that feel good than things that feel scary.
Wow.
The falling knife scares you away naturally. Your gut screams danger. The exhausted rocket, though, it seduces you. It invites maximum participation right at the top, just before the crash.
That is profound. So the thing that feels safe is actually dangerous, and the thing that looks scary, that little dip, might be safe.
If you verify it with volume, that's the anchor. Without volume analysis, you are just trading your own emotions.
So to help us visualize all this, the source lays out what it calls a universal principle. It's a 2x2 matrix, the 4 quadrants of price volume. Can you walk us through that mental map? I think this helps put everything into boxes.
Sure. Imagine a square, 4 boxes. One axis is price rising or falling. The other is volume, increasing or decreasing.
Okay, quadrant 1.
Quadrant 1, price is rising and volume is increasing. That's a healthy uptrend. Demand is strong. New buyers are coming in. This is safe. You stay in the trade.
Quadrant 2.
Quadrant 2. Price is falling, but volume is decreasing. That's our retracement. That's the opportunity we've been talking about.
Quadrant 3.
Quadrant 3. Price is falling and volume is increasing. That's the falling knife. Danger. Panic. Stay away.
And quadrant 4, the sneaky one.
Quadrant 4. Price is rising, but volume is decreasing. The exhausted rocket. Hidden danger. Time to prepare your exit.
2 opportunities, 2 dangers. And volume is the switch that tells you which is which.
Exactly. It simplifies all the chaos.
Okay, so let's get practical. Let's say we've spotted a quadrant 2, we see a stock pulling back, volume is dropping off. It looks like a classic retracement. Do we just smash the buy button?
No, absolutely not. You need a system. Just because it looks like a retracement doesn't mean it won't turn into a knife. The source gives a very specific checklist for IDX trading to confirm the entry. You don't guess, you confirm.
Let's run through this. Step 1.
Confirm the trend. The stock has to have been in an uptrend before this pullback. You're buying a dip in a rising market, not a bounce in a dying one. If a stock's been crashing for 6 months, a low volume drop is just a pause before it crashes more.
Okay, step 2 we know, check the volume.
Right. It has to be declining. If volume is flat, or worse, rising during the drop, you stop. The checklist fails right there.
Step 3 uses an acronym, OBV. On balance volume, what are we looking for with that?
OBV is basically a running total of buying versus selling pressure. You want to see the OBV line holding its structure. Even if the price dips, the OBV shouldn't be crashing. It tells you the smart money is holding their shares. They aren't selling into this dip.
Okay, so OBV is a structural integrity check. Step 4, identify support.
Don't just buy in the middle of nowhere. Look for a previous low, a moving average, some logical floor to stand on. You want to buy where other people are likely to buy.
Which leads right into step 5, the stop loss.
Non-negotiable. You place your stop just below that support zone. And the source has a critical rule here. If your risk-to-reward ratio is less than 1 to 2, you skip the trade. The math has to make sense.
Step 6 is confirmation. So you don't catch the knife, but you also don't catch the feather until it's actually landed.
Right. You wait for a reversal candle, a hammer, something bullish. Ideally, you want to see a little spike in volume on that reversal day. That confirms buyers have actually stepped back in. You let someone else be the very first person in the door.
And last, step 7, sizing.
Maximum 5% of your portfolio. The source is very strict on this. You control your risk by controlling your size. If you put half your account into one trade, you're not trading, you're gambling. You're one vacuum drop away from blowing up.
Entry is a choice, exit is a condition. I love that phrase. It really puts the responsibility on you. Now, is there ever a time where we think it's a retracement, we get in, and then, oops?
All the time. The market is dynamic. It's not a physics problem. The source calls these red flags. It's when a retracement starts to turn into a knife after you're already in.
And what would that look like?
All of a sudden, volume spikes during the pullback. Or you start seeing those giant red candles again. Or your support level just breaks on high volume.
And if that happens?
You bail. Immediately. You honor your stop loss and you walk away. The source says this isn't about being stubborn. It's about adaptation. The whole reason for the trade, that supply was drying up, has just been proven false. You take the small loss and move on.
This whole deep dive has really been about the psychology of trading, hasn't it? We started with a simple slogan about knives, and we've ended up deconstructing human fear and greed.
It really is a psychological game.
Yeah.
The source talks about a Darwinian approach to the markets.
Yeah, talk about that. Why Darwinian?
Well, slogans like "don't catch a falling knife" are emotional crutches. They're shortcuts to save us from thinking. But in the markets, if you don't think, you get eaten. The Darwinian trader adapts. They don't ask, is the price falling? Because that's irrelevant. They ask, is the price declining on increasing or decreasing volume?
It's such a subtle shift in the question, but it changes everything. Instead of reacting to the price, you're analyzing the data behind it.
Exactly. You're looking for the truth behind the movement. Volume is that truth. Price can lie, it can be erratic, but volume is actual money changing hands. It is much, much harder to fake the energy behind a move.
So the big takeaway for you listening today, stop using "don't catch a falling knife" as an excuse to stop analyzing.
Use it as a warning to check the volume. If the volume is high, heed the warning. It's a knife. But if the volume is low, ignore the slogan and start looking for your entry.
Entry is a choice, exit is a condition, volume tells you which is which. That is going to stick with me.
It's really the definitive maxim of this entire text.
You know, as we close out, I'm stuck on that idea of the exhausted rocket. The idea that the thing that feels the best, the easy money, the big rally, is actually the most dangerous because it hides its lack of substance.
It's a powerful concept.
It just makes me wonder, if we know that feeling good about a trade is often a warning sign, and feeling scared about a dip can be an opportunity, what does that tell us about trusting our gut instincts in other financial decisions? If our biology is almost designed to lose us money in the markets, maybe the most profitable thing we can do is just learn to be uncomfortable.
Comfort is rarely where the growth is.
Something to think about. That's it for this deep dive into the truth about falling knives. We'll catch you on the next one.
Trade safe.